Real power doesn't scream, it whispers. That's a fact. The loudest man in the room is rarely the most dangerous. He's usually the most insecure. The real threat? The one who says nothing, but watches everything. I've been in clubs, meetings, even fights where guys would puff their chests out, throwing around their voices like weapons, thinking volume equals dominance. But when I sat there, arms folded, no words, just presence, they all started to feel it, that pressure, that intimidation. Not because I was louder, but because I didn't need to be. The lion doesn't need to roar to prove he's the king. He just is. The jungle knows. The ground shakes when he moves. Power that whispers is the most terrifying kind because it shows you don't need attention, you command it naturally. You don't chase validation, you are the standard. Most people don't understand this. They think strength is external. Muscles, money, words. But real strength is internal, is calm, is quiet, it's cold. That's the kind of energy that bends a room without uttering a single word. When you master this, when your silence becomes heavier than someone else's noise, you don't just win, you own. You control the pace, the energy, the narrative. And the best part, you never had to open your mouth. Your energy speaks louder than your mouth ever will. You can say all the right things, rehearse the perfect lines, act confident, but if your energy doesn't match, people feel it. You walk into a room and before you even open your mouth, people already know what you're made of. It's in how you carry yourself, how you look at them, how you breathe. That energy, it's primal. It's what separates men who pretend from men, and you can't fake it. You either built it through discipline, pain, struggle, and self-respect, or you didn't. Simple. I remember walking into high-stakes rooms where everyone was dressed sharp, talking big, flexing networks and numbers. I didn't say a word. I sat down, looked around, calm. And suddenly, the tone of the room shifted. That's when I realized it's not your voice that changes a room, it's your presence. It's that unspoken force that says, I don't need to talk. I am the value here. You see, people can argue with your words. They can disagree with your opinions, but they can't fight your energy. It wraps around them. It messes with their mind. It forces them to take notice. And here's the truth. Most people are loud because they're trying to distract you from how little power they really have. But when your energy is real, when it's built on actions, not noise, you become undeniable. People will respect you, even fear you without fully understanding why. That's power, not from your mouth, but from your mindset, from your grind, from the way you show up before you say a single thing. Silence forces respect. It unsettles people. It makes them curious, even nervous. Most people are addicted to noise. They talk to fill space, to ease their own insecurity, to prove they exist. But when you say nothing, when you just look someone in the eye and wait, they start revealing themselves. They scramble to fill the gap. They stumble. They over-explain. They show weakness. Meanwhile, you're in full control. That's the power of silence. It shifts the pressure. It flips the script. Suddenly, you're not reacting to them. They're reacting to you. I've used silence like a weapon, like a test. I've been in confrontations where instead of clapping back or raising my voice, I just stared. Calm, still, and I watched them crumble. Because silence makes people reflect on themselves. It holds up a mirror. And if they're insecure, undisciplined, unsure, they'll start to unravel. Silence exposes what noise tries to hide. When you don't flinch, don't explain, don't defend, you send a message louder than any words could ever carry. I don't need to prove anything. Respect isn't demanded, it's earned. And one of the fastest ways to earn it is to stop chasing it. Stop explaining yourself. Stop trying to convince people of your value. Be quiet. Let your presence, your actions, your stillness do the talking. The man who can sit in silence without needing approval is the man who holds the cards. Everyone else is just playing catch up. Control the frame, control the game. Life is a constant negotiation of power, and the one who controls the frame, the emotional tone, the pace, the reaction, most people don't even realize they're being led. They just react. They get baited, they get emotional, they speak too soon. But the man who owns the frame, he's always one move ahead. He doesn't play by their rules. He sets them. I've been in countless situations where people tried to pull me into their chaos, into their energy, but I stayed in my lane, calm, unshaken, and that rattles them every time. You see, when you respond emotionally, when you speak just to be heard, you give away the frame. You become predictable, controllable, weak. But when you hold your ground, when you answer with pause, with presence, with purpose, you flip the power dynamic. You're no longer playing defense. You're not explaining yourself, justifying your choices, or seeking validation. You're the anchor in the storm. And when you become that anchor, people can't help but align themselves to your energy. They start asking questions instead of making statements. They react to you. Controlling the frame isn't about dominance through volume. It's about setting the standard through certainty. That certainty comes from mastering yourself, your emotions, your impulses, your habits. It's internal. And once you master that, no one can shake you. Not with insults, not with manipulation, not with noise. They'll try to pull you into drama, but you'll stay focused. That's real power. That's how kings move, not with chaos, but with calculated control. Master the silent kill. That's how the elite operate. No warnings, no announcements, no noise, just execution. In a world where everyone wants to broadcast their moves, show off their progress, and beg for applause, the man who moves in silence becomes a ghost with power. You don't see him coming, but when he arrives, it's already too late. That's the mentality of a real winner. You don't talk about what you're going to do. You do it. You don't tell people your plan. You let them feel the results when it's done. By the time they realize, you're already 10 steps ahead. There's something terrifying about a man who doesn't speak much, but always delivers. He doesn't flex. He doesn't seek attention. He doesn't brag about the grind, because the grind is his life. I became that man because I was tired of the noise, tired of people who talk and never follow through. I realized the most dangerous move was to build in the dark and strike in the light. I've closed deals, transformed my body, reinvented my mindset, and nobody saw it coming. That's the silent kill. The enemy can't stop what he can't detect. Discipline is silent. Focus is silent. Growth is silent. But results, they scream. And they scream louder than any speech, any caption, any fake confidence ever could. That's why you must fall in love with the shadows. Work when no one's watching, improve when no one's clapping, strike when no one expects it. That's how you become unstoppable. Not because you're loud, but because you're lethal. Silence isn't emptiness. It's the sound of preparation. And when you move like that, the world has no choice but to respect you or get out of your way. So now you understand, real power doesn't come from words. It comes from presence, from discipline, from silence that carries weight. While the world screams for attention, the truly powerful man stands still, calm, unshaken. He doesn't need to speak because his results do. His silence is a storm and his actions are the strike. You want to dominate? Learn to shut your mouth and sharpen your mind. Build yourself so strong, so focused, so intentional that your energy shakes rooms without a single word. Control the frame. Master the pause. Move in silence, and when it's time to kill, you do it. Clean, precise, undeniable. Because in the end, the loud get noticed. For most people, the silent get feared. Win without words, and let them wonder how you did it.